Mike here, and I am excited. I have been building towards this for a little while, ever since I found my box full of old issues of Newtype. And yes, I am wearing a Kansas City Chiefs hat. I am a Chiefs fan, of course. Tomorrow is the AFC Championship. It's interesting because I live in Western New York, which means I am surrounded by Buffalo Bills fans. I am a very unpopular person right now, but I had to wear the hat to represent my team. All right. So, as previously mentioned, we are talking Newtype USA. Now, for those of you not familiar with Newtype USA, I mean, admittedly, it is not exactly new. This, I think this series ended in 2008, so newer anime fans might not even be familiar with what Newtype USA is. So I put together, well, I didn't put together, but I snagged a little trailer that they used to play promoting Newtype. So I'll just play this for you, just to give you a bit of a feel for what it is we are looking at.
Japan's premier anime magazine is finally available in English.
To get any closer to the source,
You'd have to read Japanese.
packed with over 200 pages month after month.
Free bonus gear in every issue.
Poster, centerfold, manga, postcard, DVD.
Free in every issue.
Newtype USA. It begins where the other anime magazines end.
Log on to www.newtype-usa.com and subscribe now.
Yeah. So this is basically Newtype USA. And I started collecting with this issue, November 2004. I had been an anime fan for a little over 2 years at this point. And I just wanted to share a little of what was happening in the anime world at the time. As it said in there, this thing is 200 pages. This is thick. There is a lot in this magazine. We're going to have a lot to talk about. Specifically, obviously, Full Metal Alchemist. This, of course, was when Full Metal Alchemist, not Brotherhood, but original, was first coming out. And an interesting thing to point out, again, for the newer fans, this was back in a time when we didn't have automatic streaming. We weren't able to watch the anime at the same time it came out in Japan. Things would come out in Japan, and eventually, if it did well enough, it would make its way to America. But since we got 200 pages worth of stuff to look at here, let's not waste any time cracking this bad boy open. And the first thing we get, actually, right off the bat, 2 ads. Both of them, I believe, are featured a little bit later in the issue itself, so I'm not going to get into them specifically, but they are 2 PlayStation 2 ads, specifically Inuyasha, Secret of the Cursed Mask, which I love that game, and Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, which I've never played, so I can't speak on this game at all. Got an ad for some upcoming manga, including The Wallflower, Othello, Holic, Negima, Tsubasa, and Gundam Seed. You'll be hearing a lot about Gundam Seed in here. Ad for Spiral. Again, there are, like many magazines, there's a lot of ads in here before we get to the big stuff. But here's something of note. It's another PlayStation ad. In this case, it's for the video game Godzilla Save the Earth. And not only am I going to give you some discussion of this stuff, but in some cases I'm going to give you some trailers. And we're going to open right up here with a quick little trailer, which we're going to take a look at for Godzilla Save the Earth. Check us out. Rated T for teen.
In every city on Earth, darkness.
And I just realized I don't have my headphones on. I can't hear a thing.
Rise, and the fate of the world is in your hands.
Your claws. I will say this actually looks like a fun game.
Godzilla
Ooh.
Save the Earth. Available online for the PlayStation 2 and Xbox Live, November.
That actually looks like a fun game. Never played that. I have the PlayStation 4 Godzilla game, and I know it didn't do very well, but I enjoyed it. I think I might actually just leave these on because I'm going to have some more trailers later, and if I take them off, I'm going to forget to put them back on. All right, let's get to the first actual thing of interest here, and that is the monthly giveaway that Newtype USA did. Basically, every month they would have this little setup with like 7 or 8 potential prizes. Give you a quick little look here. Set this up as best I can of some of the prizes that were offered. Basically, there'd be a little postcard in here. You send in the postcard and are entered into a random drawing where you get a chance to get one of the prizes. What they were offering here was the Ghost in the Shell standalone complex PlayStation game, the 2005 DC Mythology calendar, which has the art of Alex Ross. I bet that was actually a really cool looking calendar. The first volume of the anime Spiral. I've never heard of Spiral. To be honest, I don't know anything about this. We got the box set of the original Fruits Basket. Now, that would have been kind of cool to get, although to be honest, I didn't like the voices in the Japanese for the original Fruits Basket, specifically the voice of Yuki. I don't mind having a female play the character, but they could have at least tried to make it sound like a guy. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that. DVD of Submarine 707R. Not familiar with that one. A Puffy Amiyumi makeup set. I'll be talking a little more about Puffy Amiyumi later on, because there is a little thing about them in here. Volume 1 of Peacemaker. I at one time had the box set of Peacemaker, but I don't think I have it anymore. I think at one point I was trying to like make some money, so I sold it. We got a poster and t-shirt from Furikuri. The first volume of the DVD Mezzo. And note that is Mezzo, not Mezzo Forte. Those are two very different series. And then we get to the two big ones, and these are actually really cool. One is an autograph from Satoshi Kon. People not familiar, Paranoia Agent, Tokyo Godfathers. This would be a really great prize. And the only thing above it is an autograph from 4 different anime personalities. Specifically, Hideaki Anno, Yasuhiro Naitao, Shinichiro Watanabe, and Kazuhiro Furuhashi. And they would get autograph and in some cases a sketch. That was actually really cool. All right. Now we can get to actual articles here. And of course we're opening up with Fullmetal Alchemist, Brothers in Arms. Now the details that we have here was that it was going to be airing on Cartoon Network this very month, and Volume 1 was going to be coming out in January. This was huge. at the time. I specifically remember everyone was talking about the upcoming Full Metal Alchemist anime coming over to America. And this issue went all out. We've got information on characters as well as the people voicing them. So, of course, Vic Mignogna, Aaron Dismuke, Caitlin Glass, Travis Williams, Sonny Strait. You know, information about the voice actors, information about the characters. And there's a couple little interview pieces from some of the voice actors, along with some more really cool imagery. And then, if I'm not mistaken on this next page, yes, we have a little episode guide for the first 5 episodes of the series. Just to, you know, get things going, get you interested, you know, make you excited. I'm actually kind of surprised that there is no trailer for Full Metal Alchemist here in this. But yeah, they went all out. There's actually kind of a cool little FAQ here I want to take a look at based on this. And we have here is, I don't get Cartoon Network, but I have to see this. When's it out on DVD? And of course, the first volume of Full Metal Alchemist goes on sale January 18th, 2005. Comes in 2 forms. A $29.98 disc-only edition, or a slightly pricier Disc Plus box starter set that includes a special bonus. Full Metal's 51 episodes will be released on 13 discs with an additional 2 collector's boxes to be included with volumes 6 and 10. Now, this is interesting because this is really how different things are now. Because at the time you're looking at $30 and you're going to get a disc with maybe 3 or 4 episodes. I don't really remember offhand how many episodes were on the first volume. Nowadays, you're paying around that much money for a Blu-ray of the entire season. And hello, cartoons! Thank you for joining. Amazing, just though how much things have changed. Second question: is anything being edited out for its run on TV? Well, it's anime, so most likely yes. According to Funimation, the show will have minimal edits during its Adult Swim run, similar to the few changes made to Case Closed. The DVDs will be uncut. Yeah, that was about what these were normally like. Where can I get more information about the show? Funimation's got a Full Metal website up now, located at fullmetalalchemist.com. And check out Adult Swim's website at adultswim.com for interviews with the cast and the latest schedule info. So I'm probably gonna harp on this a lot, but it really is just amazing how much anime viewing in America has changed since this. I mean, nowadays almost everything is streaming. The second it goes out in Japan, it's here in America. It's so different from these days when you had to wait and you'd hear about these shows and you're just like, oh, I can't wait to see it. When's it coming? All right. Now this I have really been interested in talking about, because what we have here is, as voted by the readers, the 25 greatest anime of all time. Now again, this is 2004. So obviously there's a lot of things that are not going to be here that would probably rank a lot higher than some of this. At the same time, I remember last year there was a lot of controversy over Demon Slayer being labeled as the best anime. It was either best anime or best animation. Either way, there's controversy around it. Being labeled the best of the decade. And it had just come out. Recency bias is not new. And we're going to see some of that here. So let's take a look at some of this 25 greatest anime of all time list and see how it holds up. Number 25. It's Excel Saga. I admit I'm torn on this. I actually have Excel Saga. I love this series. It is hilarious. Got the whole box set of Excel Saga, and I do get such a kick out of this series. A part of me thinks, is this really top 25 anime? I mean, it's hilarious. I love it, but is it that good? But then I think this is probably the best project that Shinichi Watanabe ever did. Now, that's debatable, admittedly. Personally, it's probably my favorite or second favorite, possibly only next to Nirama Daikon Brothers. But Excel Saga was a very fun show. Not sure if I'd call it, the 25th best anime of all time, but again, debatable. It's a fan-voted list. One comment somebody made, because they included comments from the readers, and a comment on this one is, this show is sick, twisted, warped, outrageous, and of course, funny. This is true. I can't really argue that. These are very true statements. All right. Number 24. Cardcaptor Sakura. I can see why this one would be on there. Cardcaptor Sakura is right up there, I think, with Sailor Moon as like the big magical girl series in America. I actually have not seen Cardcaptor Sakura. I could. It's on Crunchyroll. I should get around to watching it at some point, but with so much anime constantly coming out, it can be hard to keep up with all of it. The comment we got on this one from somebody is, sure, it sounds crazy coming from a 36-year-old man, but I loved this series from the start. It's got action, drama, comedy, romance, and all the kid stuff that makes me feel young again. What is wrong with being a 36-year-old man and liking something like Cardcaptor Sakura? I'm almost 40 and I'm interested in checking that show out. Nobody should be looking at, ageism. You are never too old to enjoy magical girls. All right. 23 is Wolf's Rain. I can't really speak one way or another on this because I've never seen Wolf's Rain. So that is one I would actually need you guys to tell me. Is Wolf's Rain a good one? I don't know. I'm familiar with it, but I've never seen it, so I can't really speak on it. I mean, the fact that I've never seen it, but I'm familiar with it should say something, I guess. Let's see what the comment on this one is. The stunning story of wolves trying to find paradise might just awaken a feeling within its viewers to look for the truth and search for good. I know it got me thinking about what's important. Interesting. Again, I don't really have much I can say on this one because I haven't seen it. Next up, now here's where I think we got a little bit of the recency bias, although that's not to say that it's not a really good series. And that is Gundam Seed. Now, the reason I'm calling for some recency bias here is Gundam Seed is very new at this point in America. 2 previous issues actually feature this as the cover story within just the past couple of months. And there's a big article on the series that we'll be looking at a little later on. So, a part of me feels like it's got some recency bias behind it, but I actually just started watching this. During my break at work today, I watched the first episode and a half of Gundam Seed for the first time, and it drew me right in. I was invested from the start, and I am really looking forward to getting back in and watching some more of it later. Alright, so let's see what the comment on this one is. Gundam is the Star Trek of anime. This series refuses to die. That could be seen as an insult or a compliment. Just when I thought it had run its course, it comes screaming back with Seed. The Gundam universe is far and vast and has not become the icon of the giant... and has become the icon of the giant robot anime. Like it or not, Gundam has left its mark on anime history. I cannot argue with that. Gundam is, like, huge. Even outside of Japan, Gundam is major. I've seen very little actual Gundam anime, but I certainly know the series, so I cannot argue about that, although I do wonder, having only seen a little bit of Seed here, is Seed the right one to represent the series in the top 25 rankings? I don't know. Take a second, grab a quick drink here. Speaking of giant robots, number 21 is Full Metal Panic. This is one that I've seen some of. I have Fumofu and Second Raid on DVD. Funny enough, I don't have the original series on DVD, but I've seen it, and it's available on Crunchyroll, so. Full Metal Panic is a fun series, and it's a series that's kind of been all over the place, because the first series, had its comedy, but was mostly telling a specific story. Fumofu was very much a comedy, and then Second Raid went back to being somewhat more serious, and I think there's more. I think they made another one that's like a couple years ago, but I'm blanking on that offhand. Anyway, comment from the reader is, the battle scenes were really cool, and I liked. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. And I liked how there was a lot of comedy involved in the series. Some of what I was saying there. Yeah, Full Metal Panic was and continues to be a fun series. I mean, it's still around, so clearly it's got something going for it. Now this one's interesting. Number 20. Vision of Escaflowne. This is another one that I haven't watched, but I'm going to very soon, because a friend of mine actually got me a digital copy of Vision of Escaflowne. So I have no reason not to watch this show. And this is another one of those ones that's like, everybody knows Visions of Escaflowne. This is a classic series. I cannot argue at all with this being on this list. Even without knowing anything about it, I know it belongs. Alright, what the reader had to say. A romantic story with much joy and grief, with a variety of well-developed characters I couldn't get enough of. All finished with a bittersweet ending, making me wish there was more. Well, that's something to look forward to when I watch this. Alright, I don't really have too much more to add. As I said, haven't seen it, but know that it is a classic just from how much it's been talked about. So it's been a little bit since we got to one I've actually seen, and number 19 is a series that I have seen, and it's a series that I can definitely understand being on a best of list. Dragon Ball Z. Specifically, it's Z. I don't think it's talking about Dragon Ball. And GT, I don't think GT had come out in America yet at this point. So nobody was really talking about GT yet. I don't think anyone would have put GT on this list anyway, but that's another story. Dragon Ball Z was very close to being my first anime. My first was actually Dragon Ball, but I did get into Dragon Ball Z. I got the box set edited, the Ocean dub, that went from the beginning of the series to right around the beginning of the Frieza arc. Heavily edited. A lot of stuff cut out. Whole episodes at some points cut out. But yeah, Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, there's not a whole lot I can say on that other than it's a classic. It introduced so many people to anime. It couldn't not be on this list. Let's see what this person had to say. Goku is the ultimate hero. Sure, sometimes DBZ is long-winded, and the battles always follow the same theme. This is true. But I think it's a small price to pay for a great story with great action. Goku is the ultimate hero. There's a time where I would have agreed with that. Biggest problem is Super. I think Super took a lot of the things that are wrong with Goku and pushed them to the forefront. I think a lot of the issues that Goku had would not have been noticed as much if Super hadn't pushed them so much to the forefront. I don't think Goku could be seen as the ultimate hero. There are way too many things wrong with the character for that, unfortunately. But that doesn't change the fact that Dragon Ball Z is a lot of fun, and I'll hold it as very special to me, being one of my first. Number 18. This is Initial D. Sadly, most of my knowledge of Initial D comes from the meme, the whole Deja Vu meme. That's not to say that I'm not familiar with it. I've actually played like the arcade games of Initial D, so I know some, and I know the basic idea of it. You know, the whole street racing and the drifting and all. I don't really know a huge amount, though, because I haven't really watched it. Mostly because I'm not really a car guy. So the concept of Initial D never really appealed to me. But it's another one of those ones that everybody seems to know. When you get into anime and start hearing about the classics, Initial D is always one that's brought up. So, can't really argue it. The reader comment. I love the way it realistically portrayed street racing culture, and it helped me learn to love tofu too. Okay, I don't really know what tofu has to do with the series, but then that comes from not watching it. 17. This is another one that I feel has some recency bias, and I can't give a fair opinion on it because it is one of my all-time favorite animes, and it is one of the series that really cemented me, not only as an anime fan, but a fan of Japanese culture. Number 17 is Azumanga Daioh. I love Azumanga Daioh. A goal I have, which won't happen until we get the stupid pandemic thing done and, acting like it's something that we can physically just, okay, that's enough, pandemic's over. But when we get to cons opening again, which I would like to think is going to happen and they're not just going to die, I would like to get autographs from all of the English voice cast of Azumanga Daioh. This show means a huge amount to me. As I said, it made me a fan of Japanese culture. Let's see what this person had to say. Here's a show that has no giant robots, no bloody violence, no fan service. Maybe a little bit. Yes, it has a perverted teacher, but it has no panty shots or naked boobs. Okay, that is true. No, although there is technically the point where Sakaki is changing and we get that shot of the teddy bear that she has on her underwear, but we don't actually see the underwear, so I don't think it counts. No angst-ridden characters. It's just a show about a group of female students attending 3 years of high school. However, it's so cute, with Chio-chan being one of the cutest girls in anime, and hilarious that it's quickly become a favorite for many anime fans. This is true. And I remember when this series was first coming out, I was at the store every time a new volume was set to release. And I have like the whole set. And yeah, as I've already said, I love this show. All right, 16. Tenchi Muyo. This is one I've only seen bits and pieces of, because I remember it being on a Cartoon Network, I believe on Adult Swim. And I think I remember seeing like snippets of it every so often, but never actually stopped to watch the show. I think like aliens come to, and they live in this hot spring with with the guy Tenchi. I do remember that when they had it on TV, they had to do a lot of editing because there's a lot of nudity in the show. So I remember they'd have like the really bad looking bikini swimsuits covering these girls because of, what they were actually not wearing. All right, let's see what we got here. This person says, it's a perfect blend of comedy, romance, action, and sci-fi. This is the series that made the whole harem thing popular. Is it? That could very well be. I don't know. I mean, to be honest, the first harem anime I saw was Love Hina. We'll get into that later. There's more to say about that show later on. All right. Next, number 15. This one's not a series, but this is, in fact, a movie. Actually, it gets me thinking back to Wolf's Rain and wondering if that was a movie or a TV series. I don't know. But number 15, Akira. Of course this is going to be on there. Even before I became an anime fan, I knew of Akira. It was one of the first things I purchased as a fan. I remember going into the store and they were doing a special on Geneon titles. Buy two, get one free. One of those three was Akira. And I remember I didn't notice it the first time. It wasn't until later that I realized that the guy voicing Kaneda? I haven't watched this movie in so long. Kaneda, I believe, is the same guy that voiced Leonardo in the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series. That's weird, hearing that voice coming from this character. Yeah, this was my first introduction to true uber violent anime and just some of the darker tones that anime can have. Because before that, I was watching things like Dragon Ball, Love Hina. This was very different. So let's see what this person had to say about Akira. What Blade Runner did for sci-fi, including Akira, Akira did for anime. It defined a style that would be emulated again and again and is still being used today. Akira also brought an awareness of anime to a whole generation of fans. This is true. As I said, even before I became an anime fan, I knew Akira. 14. Here's an anime that I've seen but didn't actually finish. I was like one volume away from finishing the series and just never got around to it. Number 14, Chobits. This is definitely one of those ecchi comedies. Mostly given, how he has to turn his Persicom on. It's interesting seeing our country bumpkin lead get a Persicom for the first time and trying to figure out how to live with it. And of course, Chi is adorable, innocent. It was a fun series, and of course we had the little genie-looking Persicom whose name escapes me. I haven't seen the show in so long. Okay, the comment made about this series. Read about this in Newtype USA and dismissed it as just another romance between a human and a super robot type of story. Bought it and was blown away by the depth of story and beautiful visual settings. Falling in love with Chi may have biased my judgment slightly here. Excellent series with a solid story and an ending that demonstrated how life and love can surprise you. I didn't actually see the ending, so I have no idea what they're referring to. I'll have to get around to finding the last episodes and watching it. I wouldn't be surprised if that's available streaming somewhere. I'll have to look into it. And if it's not, I'm sure eBay probably has the last volume of the anime. Or if Funimation picked it up when Geneon went out of business, maybe they have it. Alright, 13. This is another one that I have seen a little bit of. Most of my knowledge of it comes from a friend of mine who was a huge fan of it. Number 13, Fushigi Yugi. This is another one that was coming out, I think, around the same time as Sailor Moon. And, oh, hello, FDLT. First hello and second hello have come. Welcome. Hope you enjoy. Fushigi Yugi, a friend of mine where I worked when I was working at Blockbusters, showing my age a little there. She was a huge fan of Fushigi Yugi and actually lent me a couple volumes of the manga. I feel like I said manga really weird there. But that's one that I've started watching just recently because it's on Crunchyroll. I remember when we were talking, it was almost impossible to find the anime in America outside of like bootlegs. Let's see, what is the comment on Fushigi Yugi? This one has it all. A story that draws you in and doesn't let go. Lovely character designs, humor, tragedy. Anyone who denies himself the pleasure of watching this needs to get their head examined. I guess I better set up an appointment. Alright. Then we come to number 12. Given a couple of the things that are ranked above this one, I think this is where we're going to start getting some anger from people. Because I think a lot of people would have put number 12 higher than it is. This is Fooly Cooly. Yes, Fooly Cooly is number 12 in the list of greatest anime of all time. And that is one that I have seen. I have it on DVDs somewhere around here. I never saw the sequel series that came out just a couple years ago. Never saw that, but I have seen Fooly Cooly. It is definitely a mind trip. That show, maybe not as much of a mind trip as Excel Saga, but yeah, Fooly Cooly is another one of those classic anime series that very few people don't know. And yeah, it's an awesome series. Let's see what this person had to say about it. The first time I watched this series, I let out an enthusiastic, "What was that?" A month passed and I began having these completely irrational longings to watch it again. About 100 viewings later, I must say, this anime is ingenious or insane. Maybe both. Yeah, I would say that's probably pretty accurate. Fooly Cooly is ingenious and insane. Alright, number 11. Hellsing. Now this of course is original Hellsing because I don't believe Hellsing Ultimate had come out at this point. So we're talking original Hellsing. And yeah, it's Hellsing. Hellsing is a classic. I wonder if Hellsing Ultimate would be ranked higher, or if it would still be around the same spot, or possibly lower. I mean, you got to think if you're including Hellsing Ultimate, we'd be moving to a different time period, and there'd be other anime that would potentially be included. And I'm getting off on a tangent that doesn't need to be gotten onto. Hellsing. Actually, the first I saw of this was actually the Hellsing Abridged series that Team 4 started. Afterwards, I saw the proper series of Hellsing, and I love it. It's a great anime. I really like Hellsing, although it can be pretty brutal. Hellsing Ultimate's would Hellsing Ultimate be considered more brutal? I don't know. The reader comment on this one. Who doesn't love a vampire who's a bit on the psychotic side? The mixture of wonderful characters, art, and music makes this my favorite anime of all time. Eh, fair enough. And now we're on to the top 10 greatest anime of all time as of November 2004, voted on by the readers of Newtype USA. Number 10, I'm surprised this isn't higher. Sailor Moon. I talked about Dragon Ball Z being the show that introduced me to anime. Sailor Moon is the show that introduced a lot of people, mostly girls, but not exclusively, to the world of anime. I do remember seeing an episode on TV back when I was like in middle school, somewhere around there, maybe early high school. And in my case, it was mostly just, there's nothing else on. I'm not really an anime fan, but I'll watch this. Okay, I watched that. Yeah, at the time, it was right in the middle of a storyline. I didn't know what was going on, so it didn't do much for me at the time. Since then, I'm a big fan. I've been collecting the new Viz DVDs. There's a little bit of dust on this. It's been sitting there for a bit. But yeah, it's Sailor Moon. So I'm surprised it's not higher. Even for 2004, Sailor Moon I would figure would have been higher, because this was the Gate People anime for a lot of people. The Gate People anime. The gateway anime for a lot of people. Mike can talk. Okay, here's what a reader had to say. The entire shoujo genre was left behind in anime until this series caught up with a vengeance. Seldom has any anime in any genre found such popularity literally around the world. Seldom have fans been able to leverage the networks and studios to keep alive a series slated for execution. And seldom has girl empowerment fantasy been more fun or more moving. This thing also has a what next thing where it suggests don't miss Kaleido Star, the high-flying, heartwarming circus drama from Sailor Moon director Junichi Sato. I've never seen Kaleido Star, but it's another one I'm familiar with. I've seen bits of it and things about it, but I've never actually seen Kaleido Star. Number 9. And this one might be one of the most controversial ones on this list, especially ranking as high as it is. Number 9 is Love Hina. As I mentioned earlier, Love Hina was one of my first anime. It was my introduction to the harem genre, and it was my introduction to tsunderes, which I am not a fan of. I don't believe this show deserves to be number 9. It has a special place in my heart because it was one of my first, but I'm not a huge fan. There's too many things in it that I don't like. I'm not a fan of tsunderes, as I've said. I don't like how wishy-washy the character is. I mean, wishy-washy main characters in harems are commonplace, but Keitaro is on another level of wishy-washiness, and I cannot stand how much of a loser he is. And most of the other characters are also kind of unlikable. I don't get this one being this high on the list. But let's see what somebody else had to say. This series has so much energy. You can never get bored watching it. The characters are sweet, and the plot is both romantic and hilarious. Bullcrap, the characters are not sweet. Have you seen Naru? And the what next they have is that Zebek, I think that's the name, is currently working on an anime adaptation of Ken Akamatsu's latest Babelicious manga, Negima. Now Negima I do like. Same director, or excuse me, same manga artist, but this is one that I do like. I've got Negima, although admittedly, initially I checked out this series because I was a fan of one of the voice actresses in Japanese in it. But yeah, Negima's a fun series. Even though I didn't like his other work, Love Hina, you know, I like some of his work. All right, let me grab a swig of my drink here. Number 8, Ranma 1/2, or Ranma half. I'm not sure how it's actually pronounced. But anyway, this of course is another one of those famous ones. As soon as I became an anime fan, this is one of the ones that was like thrust right into my face of, oh, you like anime? Check this out. It is not necessarily one of my favorite Rumiko Takahashi properties. You know, I love Inuyasha. I love... Oh, crap, a blank name. I love this series, though I can't remember the name of it. Hang on, I gotta look it up. It's gonna bother me. Urusei Yatsura. That's the series I was trying to remember. Urusei Yatsura. Oh, that's... it's embarrassing. Ranma 1/2, I only watched a little bit of. It didn't draw me in much. Personally, it's not my favorite of the Rumiko Takahashi series. I'm more a fan of the other two. I have no comment on Meisane Koku. I haven't seen it. So I don't really have anything on that. But Ranma 1/2, let's see what this person had to say about it, though. How can you not love the gender-flipping Ranma series? It has a great story and animation. Plus, its theme song is really catchy. When you first hear it, you may feel like smashing the TV, but you'll find yourself humming the Yapapas as soon as you leave the room. I just love it. And then the what next? Keep your eyes peeled for the rest of the Ranma manga, which is still coming from Viz. And hey, one of the companies that's actually still around, Viz Media. Number 7. This is another one I've heard of but never seen. Robotech. I don't really have anything to add to this because I know Robotech, but I don't know anything about it. I think it's another mecha anime, but I can't say that for certain. I'm just actually gonna move right into what a reader had to say about it because I just don't know the series. Wow, what great stuff! For someone whose only experience with animation was Disney movies, Saturday morning cartoons, and G.I. Joe and Transformers, this was some exciting and far-out stuff. Animation was never the same for me again. Not after I saw people actually die in battle. Not just nameless extras, but main characters. My poor bridge bunnies. And some deep soap opera-y stuff going on between Rick and Lisa and Minmay. Minmay. Isn't that a Macross character? Anyway, what's next? Fans can look forward to the first original Robotech production in years, Robotech The Shadow Chronicles. Purported to be a combination of 2D and 3D animation, Harmony Gold's Shadow Chronicles will incorporate characters from the entire Robotech universe. That doesn't sound promising. 2004 2D and 3D combination is probably crap. But I can't really say that because I've not seen it. But just from my experience, I don't think that's going to be a good thing. All right, number 6. Fruits Basket. Now here's one that I don't know about necessarily number 6, but definitely deserves a spot on this list. Possibly top 10. I mean, hey, it's got a remake. Fruits Basket. I've only watched a little bit of the anime because, like I said, I was not a fan of the Japanese voice of Yuki, and it kind of ruined it for me. And I don't know if I've ever listened to the English dub. I know a lot of the names of the people who are in it. So most of my knowledge of Fruits Basket comes from the manga, of which I've read a great deal. So, yeah, from there I can say I do like the series. I actually cosplayed as Kyo once at a convention, and despite being a very simple costume, somebody actually recognized me. That was kind of cool. Somebody could tell who I was trying to portray. But yeah, let's see what the reader has to say in this case. It's got everything from humor to drama and people that turn into animals. I like this show for its pure emotion, which is exquisitely portrayed in each and every one of the characters, whether you're watching it in English or in Japanese. Each and every person has their own distinct personality and misgivings about themselves. And I just loved that the show came full circle and the characters had definitely grown from the people they'd started out as at the beginning of the series. It's one of the shows you can just constantly gush over. And what's next? A complete anime series box from Funimation Productions in November, and more Fruits Basket manga from Tokyo Pop. 5 volumes have already been released. Yeah, they actually mentioned the box set in the giveaway. So, all right, and now we're down to the top 5. The 5 greatest anime of all time, voted by the readers as of 2004 November. And I'll be honest, I'm not complaining about most of these. Most of these top 5 are definitely top 5 animes. So let's get right in here. Number 5, Trigun. Trigun's awesome. I love Trigun. It was one of my early series. I love Vash. I love our 2 insurance girls, of course, Wolfwood. I haven't watched the series in forever, but I remember loving it. Trigun is a classic. It definitely deserves to be here, and I think 5 is a fitting spot for Trigun. Let's see what this reader had to say on this one. This is a series full of gunslinging, old American West atmosphere, but it's actually a heartfelt story about 2 boys growing up with very different views on the world. I love it because the whole series develops before you really get a sense of what it's about. At the beginning, you have no clue just how deep the battle between good and evil runs, but by the end, you're immersed in this complex world. What's next? The original Trigun manga arrived in the US last year, and it continues this year in Dark Horse's Trigun Maximum. I think I have that. I think I have the Trigun Maximum manga. Night Owl fans should also check out his latest work, Gungrave, from Genion Entertainment. And in our top 5, we also have an accepted by section. In this case, the award was accepted by Yasuhiro Naitao, the creator of the series, who says, "I'm grateful that so many fans in America support Trigun so strongly, and at the same time I feel very honored. Thank you all very much." All right. Now the next one, this one's an interesting one for me. This is number 4, and it is Rurouni Kenshin. Now, my introduction to Rurouni Kenshin was in the first OVA, which, for people that haven't seen it, the first OVA was very serious, very bloody, brutal, no jokes. This was just a straight, rough story. Rurouni Kenshin is quite humorous and very, very different from what I'd seen in the OVA. It made it pretty interesting when I watched this for the first time after seeing that, and I was like, wow, this is much lighter than what I remember. My nose itches. But yeah, Rurouni Kenshin, of course, still really popular. A few years ago, it had that trilogy of live-action films, which I have not seen. I have heard mixed things on them. I've heard some people say they're really good. Heard some people say they were actually pretty crappy. I don't know. I think I heard they're actually doing like another live-action movie. I think I heard something about that. I don't really know. But let's see what this reader had to say about Rurouni Kenshin. Kenshin is an exceptional combination of genres, and the main character switches from being as complicated as the universe itself to a person who can feel totally justified in his willingness to do housework. What's next? You've seen the anime, now read the manga from Viz, currently on Volume 6. Then check out ADV Films' Peacemaker, a new samurai anime also set in the early Meiji era. And this is accepted by the director of the anime, Kazuhiro Furuhashi. I have very special feelings for Rurouni Kenshin. It's an unforgettable show for me. I made the OVA version everything I wanted to make the TV version but couldn't. I made it so there'd be no regrets. It took all my energy, but that's what made the experience so unexpectedly enjoyable. I guess I'm able to feel this way because of all the fans who liked the show. Thank you so much. Kenshin is awesome. All right. Number 3. Don't know if people would agree with this one or not. I mean, it's definitely a top anime, but I'm not sure if people would agree with it being the number 3 greatest. That is Inuyasha. Inuyasha was another early one for me. I saw it first on TV, Cartoon Network's Adult Swim, I believe. And yeah, Inuyasha is like been like a constant through my life as an anime fan, from the beginning all the way to now. I mean, we had the series, we had the sequel series, we had the 4 movies, and of course now we've got the spin-off. Well, not a spin-off, it's another sequel series, but Inuyasha has definitely been a constant, and I can understand why it would make this list. One of the readers had to say, Inuyasha is the greatest show ever. Every character is special, and it's not just your average teenage girl meets average teenage boy and falls in love story. It also helps that Inuyasha and Moroku are hot. Thank you for that. What's next? More Inuyasha. The anime series recently ended its run in Japan, but US audiences have more to look forward to, including new episodes on Cartoon Network and a DVD release of the second movie in December. And it was accepted by Kim Manning, the Adult Swim Director of Programming. Inuyasha is consistently the highest rated anime series on Adult Swim. We get more fan mail for Inuyasha than any other Adult Swim show. It's got everything. Fascinating characters, crazy demon fighting, romance, intrigue, and some of the baddest villains of all time. And that brings us to the top 2. Numbers 1 and 2 of the greatest anime of all time. And you know what? These two I can definitely see as number 1 and 2. Not sure if I would rank them the same way they ranked here, but they both definitely belong in the top. Number 2, Cowboy Bebop. There was no way this was not going to rank super, super high. It's Cowboy Bebop. This is another one where my introduction to it came from actually the movie. And that's actually completely doable. What I love about the Cowboy Bebop movie is that it is not canon, but it's a great introduction. If you're just getting into it, the movie really brings you in, introduces you to the characters, their personalities, and a really good story. So then when you watch the show, you have some idea of what's going on, and there's nothing lost in either side. And of course, the anime, what can you say about freaking Cowboy Bebop? The music, the characters, the animation, the action. I love Cowboy Bebop. I mean, this is one of those shows that even people who don't like anime like. Even people who don't like anime love Cowboy Bebop. So let's see what somebody had to say. This is without a doubt one of the best anime ever. The story and character designs are amazing, but the best part about Cowboy Bebop is the music. Yoko Kanno and the Seatbelts created an amazing soundtrack that set the mood and tone for the series. Bebop is a series that can't be missed, and it's great for fans of any genre. What's next? Now that the TV series has long been complete and the feature film is on DVD, Bebop fans can look forward to an early 2005 Geneon release of Shinichiro Watanabe's Samurai Champloo, a cutting-edge amalgamation of samurai action and hip-hop style. Samurai Champloo is awesome. I like that series. Accepted by Shinichiro Watanabe, the director. This show was influenced by so many American films that it makes me even happier that it's been so well received in the US. Thank you, and peace be with you. And that brings us to number 1. This, as I've stressed, 2004 November, voted by the fans, this is seen as the best anime of all time. And even now in 2021, some people would probably still consider this the best anime of all time. Personally, I'm not a fan of it. And I don't even mean that as a joke. I tried it a couple times, never got into it. I never liked it. But I do acknowledge it is super popular and it is considered a classic, and it's got one of the most awesome openings of any anime. Number 1, Neon Genesis Evangelion. Because of course it is. As I said, this is even today still considered one of the greatest anime ever made. I didn't like it, but I know a lot of people did. And it's the one. It is one of the biggest. I hesitate to say one of the greatest because of the fact that I don't like it myself. But I'm not surprised at all to see it ranked number 1. Let's see what this reader had to say about it, though. Somebody who I'm sure actually did like it. Holy crap, this was not well set up. Red background and white print. It's a little hard to read. Maddening, enlightening, philosophical, bewildering, disturbing, this series irrevocably scarred and revolutionized the face of anime, taking the hackneyed giant robot genre and twisting it with a dash of theology. A smidge of conspiracy, a dip of teen angst, I think a little more than a dip, and a dollop of end-of-the-world anarchy. Hideaki Anno added cinematic flair to anime. It drew me in with its seemingly commonplace concept and got me attached to its oh-so-human characters. Then, just as I became attached, the plot twists ripped out that place in my heart, cruelly extinguishing the hopes and dreams I held for each and every one in the Ava universe, and leaving a million questions. It's a beautiful visual enigma, and I still crave more. What's next? Collectors beware. Your anime allowance is about to be funneled directly into ADV Films' coffers thanks to the release of the definitive Evangelion Platinum Edition, complete with remastered video and 5.1 surround sound. Accepted by Hideaki Anno, the director. Congratulations to Newtype USA on your 2nd anniversary. Evangelion is already more than 10 years old, but it's still being recognized by fans all over the world. I can't tell you how happy that makes me. And there we have the 25 greatest anime of all time, as voted by the readers of Newtype USA. Again, I don't agree with some of it. I do agree with other parts. But let me grab a drink here and we'll move on to the next article in the story. Now, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, that I watched this for the first time earlier today. That being Mobile Suit Gundam Seed. Now, at the time of this issue, it was currently airing on Cartoon Network, with volumes 1 through 3 already available from Bandai. I'm very early into this series, but as I said, it's already drawn me in. I can't wait to get back into watching it. And that's how I felt reading this article back when this came out. I was very new to the whole anime thing, so giant mecha anime was something I was familiar with but didn't really know anything about. This gives so much. I mean, just so many images, so many pictures, and just so much about this to draw you in. And like I said, this is like the 3rd issue to feature this series. A lot of people were talking about Mobile Suit Gundam Seed. And even though I didn't get an opportunity to see it at the time, it definitely drew me in. The next thing we got in here is we're going to take a walk on the dark side, because this is DN Angel. DN Angel is a series that it's another one of those series that I watched but never finished. Although and I can't reach it from here, I've got the complete collection on my shelf of DN Angel. But this one we're going to go a little bit deeper into, because this magazine comes with a DVD. As I mentioned, I showed you a trailer a little bit ago for Godzilla Save the Earth. Well, the DVD also included 2 episodes of different anime that were being featured in the issue. One such was episode 1 of DN Angel. And for those of you not familiar with the series, let me give you just a bit of a breakdown of what happens in episode 1 of DN Angel. We open with a quick battle between 2 men with angel wings. One has black wings, one has white wings. They battle for a little bit, and the angel with the black wings seals the angel with the white wings, apparently seemingly sealing himself at the same time. That's how it came off. We then move to, I think, 40 years later, where young 14-year-old Daisuke Niwa is getting ready to head to school, where he's planning to give a love letter to his love interest, Risa Harada. he meets up with her. They're chatting a little. He's just about to pull out the letter when she says that thing that nobody wants to hear. You're such a good friend. Poor Daisuke. He is quite heartbroken by this. And he returns home. It is his birthday. I'm getting ahead of myself. He goes to school. We find out that he's actually quite the expert hacker, which he's actually seen doing by another one of the students, Hirakawa, I believe the boy's name is. Anyway, after school, Daisuke heads home, and when he gets home, he finds that the entire place is like set up as an obstacle course for him to try to get through. So it's like, hey, happy birthday. Have a death trap. He manages to make it through, and his mother and grandfather congratulate him. And they start to tell him about what his 14th birthday means. He doesn't really want to hear it. He's kind of feeling down over his love letter not working out. When he gets to his room, he gets rather emotionally, rather emotional over Risa, and it causes him to transform. His hair turns purple, he grows taller, and he becomes from a 14-year-old to about a 17 or 18-year-old. His mother reveals that this is part of being a Niwa. The Niwa males transform into a phantom thief known as Dark, and he has to go out and steal something. She's actually already given a... lost my train of thought. She's already sent a message to the cops saying, hey, I'm going to steal this. So he has to go. With his little rabbit creature thing, Wiz, acting as his wings, he flies in the museum and ends up in a battle with Hirakawa, who I believe is the son of the police chief. It's not shown in this episode, but I believe, if I'm remembering right, that's the case. Daisuke/Dark manages to escape when Dark's personality takes over, tricks Hirakawa, and gets away with the prize. As he's flying off, he happens to see Risa, who lives in this huge mansion, by the way. I don't know how that worked. She's rich. And seeing her caused him to have that emotion again that caused him to start to change back. At the same time, Risa goes in from the balcony and her twin sister Riku comes out. Dark lands... Something just popped up my phone, sorry. Dark lands on the balcony. Riku understandably freaks out. And Dark decides to handle this by kissing her. Because Lord knows when a girl is panicking and screaming, the best thing to do is sexually assault her. And that ends the episode. But I'm going to throw something else in here because we got the trailer for D and Angel. So if my rather crappy explanation didn't give you much, here's a little better look at D and Angel.
This is it. Today I go from being quiet, harmless little Daisuke Niwa to, he's pretty cool Daisuke Niwa.
You are my best friend in the world.
A friend?
Poor little thing.
What you
He has
never
no idea
want
what's
to
in store
hear
for
from
him.
the girl you like. And actually, a lot of this is the very stuff that I was talking about with the transformation and.
Breathe.
For 300 years, Dark's power has been passed through the Niwa family. Since that time, each generation of Niwa males goes through a major transformation on their 14th birthday. Now it is your turn to inherit Dark's name, Daisuke. No, I mean dark.
It's really you.
Hey, how would you like to go out on a date with Phantom Dark?
This actually is a good trailer. It does draw you in on the series pretty well, I think. Yeah. Another thing I really like about Dean Angel is the music and the setting. It has a very European feel to it. And yeah, Dean Angel, if you get your hands on it, I recommend it. It's a fun series. Now I see here. Now we're getting to something that really showcases what anime was like back in those days. Because you would get articles like this one about an anime movie that is just released in Japan, and you can't watch it yet. There's no streaming. They really didn't do special theatrical releases in America. You had to wait till it came over on DVD. This particular one, see how slowly I end up saying this. Kumo no Muko Yakusoku no Basho. Or as we know it in America, The Place Promised in Our Early Days. Quick little view there. As mentioned, this was scheduled for a 2004 theatrical release in Japan. So this hadn't even gone into Japan yet. This, of course, is a Makoto Shinkai film, another classic director. And, I don't think I've actually seen The Place Promised in Our Early Days. I do know it's one I've heard plenty about because Makoto Shinkai, it's, a famous film from a famous director. Moving on. Now we're getting to something much less familiar, and that is the anime Air. Quick shot here. I don't really know anything on this series. This is a movie. There's another movie scheduled for an early 2005 theatrical release. I'm gonna actually read the little synopsis here because, again, I don't really know this I don't know this movie. During his summer vacation in a rural town, good start. During her summer vacation in a rural town, a girl sits in the corner of the school library engrossed in a book about a winged person, a yokojin, who dies after a tragic affair. Elsewhere, a traveling young man sees a shrine and grows fascinated by the beautiful picture of a yokojin that hangs inside. The yokojin image brings this boy and girl together, marking the start of a summer miracle. So apparently it's a romance movie. Yeah, I don't really have any knowledge of this one. I'm assuming it made it over to America at some point. I would figure they'd promote it here if they weren't planning on doing an American release. But yeah, Air is one I do not know anything on. Got a quick ad for the Full Metal Alchemist and the Broken Angel PS2 game. Never played it. All right, here's one that I only watched like the first episode of because it was on Anime Network. Wonder how many people remember Anime Network. And this is My Hime. This was kind of your action comedy series. I remember. I believe I know our main character, the orange-haired girl. She's kind of the comedic, a little bit goofy hero type character. And I've only watched like the first episode. At the time, this was currently airing on TV in Japan, so this hadn't made it over to America yet. Though I know it would because I remember this coming to Anime Network. Okay, another one currently airing on TV in Japan. This one I'm not familiar with. Utakata. Let me see if it had a change of name when it came over to America. Utakata. Spell it right. Kata. It would help if my phone would stop typing the wrong letters. Alright. Nope, still labeled as Utakata, so they didn't change the name of it when they brought it over, but I got nothing on this one. Let me look at the... One summer day, an ordinary 8th grader named Ichika meets a strange girl named Manatsu. That's it. That's literally all it has for the story. I mean, then there's the pieces in the article. Yeah, this is another one I'm not familiar with. And some of this stuff I remember seeing at the time and thinking, ooh, this looks cool. I don't really have anything on this one. Now we're in what's known as a Newtype Express. This is where we're just kind of rapid firing some different things, including Mahou Shoujo Lyrical Nanoha. This is one that I've heard of but not seen. We got yeah, they're just throwing out a list of shows here like Samurai Gun, Onmyo Taisenki, Rosen Maiden, School Rumble. Love School Rumble. Yakitate Japan. Friend of mine was talking to me about that one just recently. And the Inuyasha fourth movie, Inuyasha Goren no Horaijima, excuse me. Then we got a thing about that Robotech series that I mentioned earlier, the Shadow Chronicles. Not really showing much of the series itself, which makes me even more say that the animation probably looked like crap. And then we got an article on Puffy Ami Yumi. I mentioned earlier that I was going to be talking about this. Puffy Ami Yumi, of course, did the theme song to Teen Titans, which is what first got their attention in America. They'd been around in Japan for several years beforehand just as Puffy, but of course when they came to America we already had a singer named Puffy, so they became Puffy Ami Yumi, and at this point in time they were just getting ready to start their own cartoon series, Hi Hi Puffy Ami Yumi, which it wasn't a bad series, but it didn't do anything different. It was very basic, very standard. The only thing it had it all interesting was that the opening and closing of the show would feature live action segments with Ami and Yumi. But that was about it. And that wasn't even something that nothing else had already done. So, unfortunately, I enjoyed the show, but it really didn't do anything special or different. And I think that was part of the problem that it had. They were getting ready to release Zeta Gundam on DVD. We had the question of if they were going to be dubbing Ghost in the Shell 2. Voltron coming to DVD. A couple more ads for some different online anime stores, which I actually looked online beforehand. Oh, you know, I had a couple of the DVDs for Puffy Ami Yumi as well. I also got one volume of Puffy Ami Yumi in Japanese, which surprisingly did not have Ami and Yumi doing the voices of their respective characters. They had just regular Japanese voice actresses doing them. That surprised me a little. We got oh, this is interesting. A little thing about what's going on in the anime world in Australia. I did not read this article, so I don't. They just browsing through here quickly. I'm not seeing a lot. I do see a thing about the manga version of Azumi, which I've seen the live action movie with Aya Uedo of Azumi, which is actually a good movie. I recommend it. A little bit on what's going on in the UK. An ad for Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3. I collected these every time. Every time a DBZ Budokai game came out, I would get it. I liked the animation style of the first one best, although, you know, they got a little bit better with each one. Although for the most part, it was just the same game. Just some additional characters, but it was all more or less the same thing. All right, let's see. Just a couple little things, not really a lot in there. The Pokemon trading card game, because even then, Pokemon trading cards were still a huge thing. Capcom Fighting Evolution. I've never played this game. We've got a little manga snippet here, which Lagoon Engine Einsatz. I'm not familiar. But at the end of the little manga preview, which I did read at the time, but it didn't do much for me. Suggesting to subscribe to Newtype USA. And if you subscribe, you can get one of these two hats. And I actually did. I had a subscription. My subscription actually went until the magazine ended. And I remember, since I still had like a couple months worth of subscriptions, they sent me a new magazine in place of it that wasn't very good. Yeah, I got the Menchie from Excel Saga hat, and my cat was scared to death of it. I remember I sat it up on top of the bookshelf, and my cat came in, saw it, and was just like... So I had to move it because he was a little freaked out by it. There's a little ad here for Dean Angel, which I've talked some about already, so nothing really to speak on with that. And then we've got a profile article on Satoshi Kon. I mentioned him earlier, of course, Paranoia Agent, Tokyo Godfathers, Millennium Actress. I love Millennium Actress. That's a great movie. Perfect Blue. Satoshi Kon, he's been involved in so many great classic films and TV series. Got a ad for Fruits Basket. Yeah, I don't think I have the hat anymore. I don't even know where I would have put it. But I remember at the time, though, my cat was scared to death of it. Got an article here for Last Exile, which had Volume 7 coming out in December from Genion. This is another one I'd heard of, but never actually watched. Klaus Valka and Lavi Head are sky couriers in the middle of an aircraft race. They encounter a damaged van ship carrying a mysterious young girl. When they offer help to the downed vessel, they're asked to deliver the girl to the battleship Sylvana, but there are many dubious rumors surrounding that ship. That actually does sound kind of interesting. I may have to look up Last Exile, because that actually does sound like an interesting premise. And I mean, the visuals are pretty cool. You can kind of tell my voice is starting to get worn a little from how much quicker I'm working through this, just because my voice is starting to get a little bit tired, and I'm only on page 85. Now, obviously, some pages go faster than others because some of them are ads. And whew, much like with the Gundam Seed one, lots of images from the show here in this article. Oh, there's another one. Okay, we got another ad, and actually this one, I think I'm gonna take a moment to give us another trailer, which gives me a little bit of a break, because this is an ad for Mezzo. Not Mezzo Forte, this is not the hentai, but this is the TV series Mezzo.
Hi, my name is Nikura, and I'm all about service with a smile.
Hi, Nikura.
That service is cracking skulls, and the smile happens to be on the other end of a loaded gun. I don't hear anyone complaining. There's Harada.
Well, as long as you're not pointing that gun at me, I won't complain.
He's always ready with a high-tech toy to get us out of a pinch. And Kurakawa, or Pops, a bitter ex-cop with a serious noodle addiction and an insider's knowledge of the underworld.
Hmm.
He's always making sure we see plenty of action. So, the three of us make up the Danger Service Agency, or the DSA. We're a high-risk trio that pays the bills by putting our asses on the line. Because if we don't, we'll starve. Oh, I can't forget about Asami. She's my little apprentice.
Or at least she was until you killed her by throwing her out a window.
Bad guys don't have a chance. Well, most of the time. So if you want to live long enough to eat dinner, check us out. Mezzo.
And this just actually leaves me curious if Mezzo came first or Mezzo Forte came first. I don't really know. I haven't really researched it. And then we have an ad for Anime Network. This was back in the day when, again, there was no streaming. So if you wanted to watch anime, you had to get a hold of the DVDs, you had to find a channel that was showing the anime you wanted to see, or you had to go for something like Anime Network, which had there were a couple versions. Some had a set schedule where, just like any normal TV show. What I had was Anime Network On Demand, where you'd have a list of shows. You could pick the show, and then you could pick from a list of episodes that were available. And of course, every week they would update. This did unfortunately cause me to miss some shows because for some reason there were times where they wouldn't update an episode, or they just stopped featuring a show before finishing it. Like Maid Sama. I was actually getting into that series, but then they just dropped it. Yeah, Mezzo, I've never actually watched it. The only thing I know about it is that it's not the hentai. That's literally all I know, is that there was a hentai, but this isn't that. Gotten a fun little article on the original Fruits Basket, which I already talked a little bit about Fruits Basket earlier, so I'm not gonna really get into that one too much. There's an article on Love Hina, which again I talked about Love Hina during the top 25 anime list. It holds a special place in my heart for being one of my first, but I don't think it's a great anime. It's not. I don't think it's a great series. Now here's something I wanted to talk about. The video game Inuyasha: Secret of the Cursed Mask. I loved this game. You got to play an original character, either male or female, similarly sent back in time to the feudal era, where you would get to interact with the characters from Inuyasha while trying to find a way to get back home. It's a fun game. It's got little kind of chibi sprite type versions of the characters, and eventually you would be able to unlock special moves that would be fully animated and were original animations made for this game, which were pretty cool. Admittedly, my favorite was one of the team-up animations with Moroku and Sango, where Moroku, being Moroku, would start rubbing Sango's butt. She would get mad, go to take a swing at him with Hiraikos. He ducks, and she accidentally lets go of the Hiraikos, which then hits the enemy, and that's the attack. It was always one of my favorites. Every time I built up enough stats to do it, I always chose that attack, because it was one of my favorites. It had a really good original story. It was a fun game. This is one of those games I would love to see them update to a more recent port, but I highly doubt they're going to do it. We got a quick ad for Full Metal Panic's manga, and an ad for the movie, the original Japanese, Dark Water. Of course, there was a American remake starring Jennifer Connelly, but to be honest, I was about to say I like the Japanese version better. I don't think I've seen the American version, and to be honest, the Japanese version I think is boring. I was never a huge fan of Dark Water. I considered it somewhat boring, not as scary as other Japanese horror movies I'd seen. Just didn't really do much for me. And then we got the pull-out poster, which I never pulled out because, well, it's an Evangelion poster. And as I pointed out, wasn't really a huge Eva fan. So the poster is still sitting here in the book. I don't think I took any of the posters out, actually. I might do that. Got an ad for Angel Rabbie, which I've never heard of. And how about this? 2004, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I'm pretty sure this... Yeah, this is an anime. I wasn't sure if this was an anime or a manga they were advertising here, but... Yeah, this just shows you how long JoJo has, managed to survive. Because even in 2004, there was JoJo stuff. Ad for Robert's Anime Corner store, which I checked and is still in existence. And then this is pretty cool. A section on the official art of Chrono Crusade. This basically is character images. And it is like 5 pages of character images from Chrono Crusade. Which I think this is a good way to really get you into the anime. Because it's all these characters, a little bit about them, you get a look at them, and you can look in this and say, wow, that looks really cool. Okay. The hat was preventing the headphones from sitting properly on my ears, and it was starting to hurt. All right, we got an ad for Parasite Dolls and an ad for an anime that I've never watched. This is another interesting one. This is Cyber Team in Akihabara.
Hi, my name is Hibari Hanakogani, and I'm a brand new junior high school student. And this little guy here is Densuke. He fell
Hi,
right
Densuke.
out of the sky and into my heart. I just know he's a gift from the prince of my dreams. But ever since since Densuke arrived, my life hasn't quite been the same. These three crazy ladies always show up to try to take my Densuke away from me. No matter how hard they try, they'll never get my Densuke! I knew it! It's the woman with the boobies!
You can't escape.
Really?
Somehow
That's how you know her.
These crazy monsters appear. So my friends and I formed a group to protect our Pachapi and defeat these bad guys.
Yeah, this.
Do you really think I'm gonna tell you what happens next? You gotta watch, silly! Cyber Team!
You know, that's okay.
Abra.
I don't think I need to know what happens next. Yeah, this was not looking like a good series. I can't say as I'm surprised this one didn't stick around in my head. Got an ad for Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Battle Assault 3. Well, essentially, it's Battle Assault 3 featuring Mobile Suit Gundam Seed. We got some fan letters, which I'm not going to read all of them, but this one, just by the title, has caught my eye. I've been an anime fan since Sailor Moon first appeared in the US. I've been trying to convince my mother that my obsession with anime and manga is truly justified. The stuff rocks. Over time, she's lightened up, more or less, but still bugs me about one thing: the perverts. Usually in the form of a dirty yet wise old man. Well, that would change some. I think they're hilarious, but she won't leave me alone about how bad they are. I even taped that commercial that airs on Adult Swim with clips of Moroku being perverted just to show her that not all dirty men are old ones. I figured it's honestly really funny. But her morals won't be swayed. At this point, I kind of figured there's no way to change her mind. It's pretty frustrating, but I can't deny what I like. Anyway, should I feel bad? Because I kind of sort of don't. Just wondering. Oh, what do they tell him? Oh, excuse me, what do they tell her? This is a girl. Of course you shouldn't feel bad. Perverted characters, old men and otherwise, provide some of the biggest laughs in anime. What would Ranma 1/2 be without Happosai? Or Azumangadayo without Mr. Kimura? Besides, these lovable characters say and do what normal civilized people wouldn't. That's why it's funny. Everybody's got a little Moroku in them, but they aren't as blatant about it. Personally, I've got my own thoughts on pervert characters in anime, but that's a soapbox discussion. I don't really want to get into that. This is kind of cool. There's some fan art from some of the readers, and there's actually some pretty good looking stuff here. Definitely got to give credit to some of these artists here. There's some really cool looking stuff. Hey, I was just noticing that Sasuke there. I don't think Naruto had made it over to America yet. Got some more fan art. Ad for JList.com. More fan art. It's actually some pretty good fan art. And actually an ad for interactive DVD visual novels. I actually have a few of these. In fact, I actually have the one that's being promoted there, which is a Tea Society of a Witch. This is, as it says there, a visual novel. Specifically, it is kind of an all ages visual novel. I say kind of because some of the themes are a little more adult. But there's no nudity, no sex scenes, none of that. This is fairly clean. Although I think I heard that this particular one had a lot of stuff cut out of it because there actually is an adult version of this game. I don't know. I never really went looking for it because I wasn't interested. But I hear there's an adult version, but I don't know. We got a voice actor spotlight on Marika Matsumoto. Quick little spotlight on her there. Sadly, I actually looked looked her up on Anime News Network, and she doesn't have a huge resume, which is kind of a shame. That they were featuring her pretty heavily here, but she really doesn't have a huge resume. Then we got, oh, this is actually kind of cool. We're now looking into what's going on in Japan. We've got like the top monthly DVD sales, the top monthly CD singles, CD albums, manga, new releases. And then there's a thing on upcoming conventions in the US. And then the American monthly DVD and manga sales. And then one of my favorite parts. They actually have a listing of what's on TV in Japan at this point in time. And basically there's about it talks about 4 episodes from each show, because about a month's worth of shows. So we have Fafner, which I've never seen. F-Zero Falcon Densetsu, haven't seen it. Deers, I've heard of that one but haven't seen it. Dando, no. Choseishin Grand Caesars, nothing. Ooh, here we go. Bo. I had the first DVD of this. Didn't really get into it. I like comedies, but this one didn't do much for me. Then we have Bishoujo Senshi Sailor Moon, although this would actually be better known in America as Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon. This is the live action series. We were actually coming close to the end of this, as it's episodes 44 through 46, and I think it only had 49 episodes, so this series was almost over at this point. We got Burst Angel, 2 times 2 equals Shinobuden. Madlax, I've heard of Madlax, didn't see it. Kuraru Phantom Memory, Konjiki no Gash Bell, Kenran Buto Sai, The Mars Daybreak, Kamen Rider Blade, Inuyasha, which, as was mentioned here, was coming close to its end, Girls Bravo Season 1, Get Ride Am Driver, Galaxy Angel, that's one I'm familiar with, I like Galaxy Angel, Full Metal Alchemist, which was coming, they also were coming close to their end at this point. Otogi Zoshi, One Piece. At this point, we were on episode 201 of One Piece. My, how things have gone. Naruto, Mutsu Enmeiru Gaiden Shura no Toki, Monster, Monkey Turn V, Mermaid Melody Pichi Pure, Melody of Oblivion, Case Closed. Speaking of shows that have lasted a long time, Maria-sama ga Miteru, Tenjo Tenge, Survival, No Man's Planet, Sergeant Keroro. Sergeant Frog is one that would appear in Newtype a lot before they would actually be able to get it over here. Took forever. SD Gundam Force, Samurai Champloo, Sayuki Reload Gunlock, Rocketman EXE Access, Ragnarok the Animation, Precure, Pokemon. Episode 89 was around the time of this. Then we got Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, Ultra Q, Tweeny Witches, Transformers Super Link, and Tetsujin 28 Go. And then a quick thing for shows that were being featured in America included Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex and the Super Milk-chan Show. I liked the Super Milk-chan Show, but specifically because the English version included live-action clips with the voice actresses. Yeah, that was what's going on there. We then get into featured music, including Aiko Ikuta's Dream Ship being the ending theme for One Piece at the time. And there's stuff from Aiko Kitahara, Sakura Nogawa, one of my favorites, Mai Katawaki. I mentioned earlier with Negima. I got into Negima because I was a fan of one of the voice actresses in Japanese. It was Mai Katawaki, who I'm a big fan of. Probably the thing she's most known for is playing Ilya in Fate Stay Night. The first volume of the Saga of the Three Kings arc from Yu Yu Hakusho was just coming out. Got a little thing on some toys. More things on toys. Game of the month was Samurai Warriors Extreme Legends. Never heard of it. So that says something right there. I've never heard of that. There's a Yu Yu Hakusho Tournament Tactics for the Game Boy Advance. Oh, so talking some classic games that are now available on the Game Boy Advance. Castlevania, Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link, Metroid, and Dr. Mario. Ooh, also got a Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne. Now, of course, Shin Megami Tensei, people behind Persona. So that's a pretty cool bit. So got an article on that Godzilla Save the Earth, which I kind of want to play. They don't really have like a ranking on it, so I don't know how good or bad the game actually is. Article there on Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, the video game. Alright. I mentioned the DVD including the episode from Dean Angel. It also includes an episode from another anime, and before I go explaining the synopsis of this one, let me take a drink. This is Petite Princess Yushi. Now, for some reason, episode 2 is the one that's on the disc. I'm assuming nothing really happens in episode 1. What I do know is that Yushi, at 17, there was some type of spell that turned her into a 10-year-old. So she wants to try to find a way to change back. She finds out about this eternal tiara, but she can't get to it. This queen tells her that she can get the tiara if she becomes the Platinum Princess, and she is worthy of being a candidate. So she gets sent to this charm school of sorts. That leads us to the episode. Episode 2 of Petite Princess Yushi. So Yushi heads to the school along with her steward, Cube, who is a demon. And she finds that a lot of the people going to this school are very rich. And she feels a little out of place, but she seems like she's going to be okay. Meets up with her friend, Kululu? I think. It's been a long time. And we then find out about another Platinum Princess candidate by the name of Glenda, who is from the demon realm. Not a fan of Cube, because she sees him as a traitor for being a steward to a human. But she comes in and she's very abrasive and immediately ends up butting heads with Yushi. We get a quick montage of the two of them pulling pranks on each other, and eventually they get called into the principal's office. Turns out the principal is the queen, the same one that Yushi had met in the first episode. Well, the queen decides that they're disrupting things too much. One of them is going to have to leave. So she sends them off to find a crystal flower. The crystal flower will only reveal itself to someone who shows true kindness. So they head off to try to find the flower, and the person who finds it gets to stay. Glenda gets to this flower garden and figures, well, if I give the flowers some rain, it'll be good for them. And that'll be an act of kindness, and I'll get the crystal flower. So she uses her magic to make rain fall on the flowers. And there's little flower fairies that are there. Well, Yushi shows up, and she thinks, no, what the flowers need is sunlight. So she has Cube make her something to blow the rain cloud away. And, of course, this causes a fight between the two. Glenda keeps bringing the cloud back to rain the flowers. Yushi keeps blowing it away so they get sunlight. Well, all this just causes the flowers to start wilting. And Yushi feels really bad, so she suggests that they need to stop. They're just hurting the flowers, not helping. But Glenda says she will only stop if Yushi gives up and admits defeat. Yushi, not wanting the flowers to die, agrees to do so. Well, obviously, this is an act of kindness, so the crystal flower appears and goes to Yushi. They get back, and even though Glenda points out that Yushi gave up, the queen, says whoever got their hand on the flower won. So Yushi wins, Glenda has to leave. However, Yushi, being the main character and the nice person that she is, says, if we agree not to fight anymore, can she stay? And the queen agrees, and when they leave, they immediately start arguing again, but, it's more of a friendly arguing, more so than it was initially. The queen takes the flower and puts it in this kind of flower garden around this gazebo. We see there's a spot for like 5 flowers there. When she sets the flower down, it forms into this vine that wraps around the gazebo. So clearly, throughout the series, they're going to be trying to find more. That brings us to the end of the episode, which actually has a theme song performed by Yoko Ishida, who, in the early 2000s, she was like the anime theme song singer. She did the closing theme to this. She did themes for Ai Yori Aoshi, Ah My Goddess, A Little Sugar Fairy Snow, and several others I can't really think of offhand. But I also have another trailer here, this one for Petite Princess UC, so let's take a look at this one.
Welcome to the Princess Academy. Here we teach young girls the finer points of dancing, art, magic, and manners.
Are you awake now, Yushi?
Wish you'd shut up. Are you lecturing me?
Shut your dirty mouth!
Now, ladies, we have several
Yeah,
candidates.
not
for the
exactly what
Platinum
I'd call
Princess.
most ladylike.
The one that comes around once every 1,000 years.
Like you, I am also a Platinum Princess candidate.
She says she's a Platinum Princess candidate.
And once the tiara gives me the power to take over the world, I'll make a killing by opening demon goods shops worldwide!
If anyone other than the Platinum Princess were to touch that tiara, she would surely lose her life.
Well, that's no good.
I can become an adult.
Now, the thing about this series, it's a fun series until the end. The end ruined the series for me. I was really enjoying it. I hated the ending, have never been able to watch it since. Horrible, horrible ending. We've got some manga articles here. Madara, Boys B, Hyperoon, Queen's Knight. I've never heard of some of these. Again, I'm trying to move somewhat quicker. There's another interactive DVD visual novel ad for Ishika and Honori. I had that one, but I don't have it anymore. Wasn't a bad game. It was a fun enough little game. And this is another thing that actually is really cool about Newtype USA. It's not only anime and manga, but it gets into American comics as well. Specifically, there's an article here on Astonishing X-Men numbers 1 through 4, which I remember when this came out. Astonishing X-Men, when it came out, was a really big deal. I don't think it lasted a huge amount of time. It was one of those, ooh, it's new, that's exciting. Oh, not really that big a fan of it. It's Q&A with Dan Slott. So that's kind of cool. Writer of She-Hulk, Spidey, and Torch. A little thing on the first volume of Gantz. And as I mentioned, quick little thing on Sergeant Frog. He is going to make little cameos in Newtype USA for a while before they actually get the rights to get him over here. Another article on Dean Angel. This one about Dean Angel being the DVD of the month. Series called 7 of 7, which looks like a, I'll be honest, it looks kind of like a parody of Power Ranger type shows, the kind of Super Sentai type thing. Oh, there's an article on the first Inuyasha movie, Affections Touching Across Time, which, I'll be honest, knock the pages around. Inuyasha Affections Touching Across Time is my favorite of the Inuyasha movies. I loved that movie. And it is my favorite of them. Further stuff on, oh, I remember this, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Uncut DVDs. This and Shaman King were two shows from 4Kids that they tried to release uncut DVDs of. They didn't sell well, mostly because people compared them to the 4Kids version and was like, well, I've seen it on 4Kids. It's not good. Why would I want to get the DVD? Which is a shame because the DVDs are a lot different. Oh, actually, right there, Shaman King. With, and I don't believe this. This article has a little subtitle that says, "Don't squeeze the shaman." Did they really think people in 2004 were going to get that reference? For those of you who don't, back in the day there were commercials for Charmin toilet tissue. And there was this employee who would be around, and whenever he'd sneak off, these women would come and start squeezing the packages of Charmin. And that was the big thing. He would come in and like, don't squeeze the Charmin. So they reference that here by saying, don't squeeze the shaman. Nobody's going to get that, dude. That commercial was like the 70s and 80s. Little thing for Please... Oh, Please Twins. I remember Please Twins. It's the little sequel to Please Teacher. Parasite Doll. Bubblegum Crisis. Bubblegum Crisis is actually a series I have never seen but want to and can because I got Funimation recently so I can watch it on there. This much talking is not good for my voice. But I'm almost done. I'm at about page 191 now because I zipped through a lot of that. Now there's an interesting one. Another interactive DVD visual novel. And this one's interesting because I'm actually planning on doing a Let's Play of this game here on the channel. This is Hourglass of Summer. Now, like Tea Society of a Witch, this is basically all ages. No sex scenes, no nudity. The closest this thing even comes to kissing is a little peck on the forehead that you get from one of the girls. They did a OVA of this, and it wasn't very good because this story is way too long for a single OVA. But yeah, I'm planning on doing a Let's Play of this because I think it's a fun story. We got a couple live action movie trailer ads here, and one of them has a trailer here on the DVD, that being 2009 Lost Memories. Let's check it out.
What if everything you knew was a lie? What if Japan had allied itself with the United States during World War II?
So it's basically an alternate. I think this is officially a Korean movie. Yeah, I think this is a South Korean movie.
Never existed. To JBI agent Masayuki Sakamoto, these questions are not the subject of speculation. They're history. Everything he ever knew about the world he lives in is turned inside out.
You know, sadly, I had the opportunity to watch this and I never did. Because it's
Asian cinema redefined.
That actually does look interesting. And I remember the local Blockbusters having it, so I'm kind of disappointed that I never watched it. Because it does actually look kind of interesting. Anyway, moving on, we got some just like random stuff. Another section just of product placement. Some different things you can get and design. And it's actually got another ad here that leads us to another trailer. This being for the anime Lady Death. I remember ADV Films. They did a lot of my early anime. Well, this is quite a brutal little show. Ow. Ow. You see, this isn't one of those ones I remember when it came out. And I remember seeing quite a bit of publicity, but never watched it. And I still don't think I'm all that interested. The trailer doesn't really draw me in all that much. Yeah, this is not one that I can say I'm overly invested in. Got another ad for those hats. If you don't get one for free by subscribing to the magazine, you can always purchase one for yourself. And that brings us to the end of the issue. There are two more trailers on this DVD that were not actually featured in the magazine, so we're gonna take a look at those just to finish things up. Let me bring that up. Now we're gonna start with Sister Princess.
What would you do if you had 12 sisters?
I don't know. What would you do?
Big brother, dear brother, brother, bro, big bro, brother mine, brother darling, bro, mon frère, brother dearest, elder brother,
Beloved poisson.
Does that mean you're all my little sisters?
and add to the mix a 13th sister.
What is with that voice?
Who's a spy? Is this guy
She's a
really
spy,
working
you
for
say?
me? And an incognito butler.
Thank you for your hospitality all these years.
You mean...
Hi, Master Roshi.
I'm just an old fisherman, as you can clearly see. I'm just an old realtor, as you can clearly see.
Top it all off with a zany school buddy.
Oh, really? I'm Yamada, his best... No, his one and only best friend.
It can't be true.
Ask yourself, what would you do? Sister Princess, a sibling revelry from ADV Films.
Can't imagine why this series didn't get over very well. Didn't exactly come off great. Alright, so I got one more trailer here, and this is for a movie that I remember really liking. This is one of my first Japanese films I ever saw, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm very happy to promote this one. This is The Princess Blade.
In 2003, one film redefined action. This year, one DVD will redefine special edition.
Special edition.
The Princess Blade Special Edition DVD.
And I did have the special edition. I think I still do, actually. I'm saying did.
World-class action like you've never seen it before. Now with more features that give you a look behind the legend. The making of the Princess Blade documentary.
I watched that. It was interesting.
The special effects of the Princess Blade featurette. Deleted scenes. An interview with Action Master Donnie Yen. Interviews with the cast and crew.
To be honest, I'd forgotten that Donnie Yen worked on the action for this.
Outtakes. The Princess Blade. She's back and better than ever. The Princess Blade Special Edition coming soon to DVD.
Yeah, I can't speak highly enough of The Princess Blade. It's an awesome movie. I loved The Princess Blade. All right, so that brings us to the end. We've managed to get through an entire issue of Newtype USA. In future cases, I got to figure something out so that I'm not having to rush through the ending just because my voice is getting tired. I don't like skipping past stuff, even though the most important stuff I talked about. Obviously, towards the end of the issue, you get into the less important stuff, but still, I don't like doing that. But yeah, this was November 2004's edition of Newtype USA. It was a lot of fun. This really helped build my love of anime when I started collecting this. So All right, that brings us to the end of the stream. Thank you all very much for joining me. Until next time, thanks for being part of my geek world.